a big year for Efficient Brewing this year. So we've had lots of projects, completed lots of things, aiming to make things so much better for you and your brewery and make things run much more efficiently. So just to kick this off, the biggest thing that we did this year was having an integration with Brew. So all you need now is an API key from Brew. Put that into Efficient Brewing. You can easily sync all your batches and your equipment and to be able to get started straight away using Efficient Brewery. I estimate that from nothing in Efficient Brewing to running with a schedule, you'd be done in about 30 minutes with an integration with Brew. So following up with that, so we've actually completely overhauled the Gantt chart and the visualization for the schedule. Previously, the Gantt chart was just very static. You were able to, it was only for display purposes only. And so we decided to make a change to that and make it so it's significantly more interactive. So now you can click on everything, you can now move things around, change where the batches are, change where they start, change what equipment they go to, change the length of the fermentation times, conditioning times. Anything that you want to change is able to be done directly within that Gantt chart. And so that makes things much easier when you want to modify the schedule. If things change, if you feel like the optimization didn't give you exactly what you wanted, you can then move it around much easier. Then the next stage was really the biggest change for Efficient Brewing was actually along the lines of changing the beer types and how they are represented within the system. So previously I used a very rigid system where we had a beer type was assumed to have only a fermentation time and possibly a conditioning time. This did not fit with reality, and so this was changed in order to allow it to be significantly more flexible in the fact that you can now look at this as vessel residence times. So a beer has to go through a certain number of vessels and they spend a certain amount of time in those vessels. And so for every stage, you just set the equipment type that it's going to be in, followed by the number of days that it has to stay within that piece of equipment. And so that's going to make this significantly easier for you to properly enter your beers into the system, because every beer goes through a number of stages, significantly more than just fermentation and conditioning. So every time a beer has to move to a different vessel, it becomes a different stage. You put that into the system, it will pick it up in the optimization. Finally, the next step is the activity days. And so we introduced this aspect in the beer types because there are things that happen during fermentation, which doesn't necessarily mean that you're transitioning from vessels, but it does mean that you actually need to be at the brewery in order to do the work. And so if these things occur, such as dry hopping, or you want to take some beer out for the cask, for your casks, as opposed to and then leave the others for the keg, if these things occur, you put these down as activity days, and then the optimization will ensure that these days land on a work day. So then you don't have to worry about determining whether the schedule is giving you something that fits with your actual work practices. And so the activity days are very much aligned with making the scheduling system work much, much better with how you actually work as a brewery. So to wrap that up, the four key things are integration with Brew, significantly improved Gantt chart. We have now vessel residence times for the beer types, and then finally activity days to make sure that the important activities don't land on the weekend.